Hey there, everybody, this is Ray Carsillo, and I'm coming to you once again from Los Angeles in our hotel room. It's a little darker today because, well, it's cloudy out. It's a pretty miserable-looking Wednesday morning here on the West Coast. It's 6:45 in the morning. Hopefully the weather back east is a little bit better. Of course, most of us are going to be inside all day, so it's not going to matter. But I want to tell you what happened yesterday at the convention. We had some good interviews lined up, talked to a lot of great people, including the first one was the Deadliest Warrior at Spike TV and Spike Games. The Deadliest Warrior, of course, the game is going to be based right off the TV show, and we talked to them about how many fighters are going to be in the game, how much it's going to cost, 800 Microsoft points, by the way, or $10, and that they plan on releasing it later at some point, probably for PlayStation Network. I don't have any screens for you, unfortunately, because my internet wasn't really working last night, but they did give me a poster, which was pretty cool. You see, I got a, I tried the Spartan, and it was very cool to chuck the spear into the face of the pirate. I had a couple of instant kills, and this will be available on Xbox Live on July 14th. I don't know if it's when or even if it'll actually make it to PlayStation Network. They said that it will end up trying to get out there, but definitely for Xbox Live, check it out on the 14th of July. It looks great. And you know what? They were also really cool. They gave me the first season DVD. How sweet is that? A huge fan of the show, as you all probably know. Moving on after that, after we talked to Spike Games, we moved on over to Disney. And got to take a look at Epic Mickey. You're going to take a look at a couple of screens here. And I also, in terms of swag, I got a pin. Basically, it's your standard kiddie platformer. You know, it's older people might enjoy it because if you're a fan of Disney, you're gonna appreciate seeing all the old characters that you may not have seen in a while, like Shmi from of course Peter Pan is one of the first characters you bump into in the demo we played, and of course what's cool about it is that it kind of goes through Mickey's history a bit. You go through the Steamboat Willie cartoon to get to different places, and movie projectors are very important to the game. They kind of act as portals, and also paint is very important to the game. Green paint is actually thinner, and you can use it to erase characters or enemies from the world that, of course, Mickey exists in, or blue to either convert them to your side, or to also you can create things with the blue paint. So that's pretty cool. A nice, interesting gameplay mechanic. But it's your standard platformer. It's going to be available for Wii later this year. And I actually had a lot of fun with it. But I grew up as a Disney fan. So if you're not a fan of Disney, if you didn't grow up with the cartoons, you may not enjoy it. If you don't have a little one, they might not. You might not really want to look at it too much. But it's a very kiddie game. We also looked at a game called Cars. The World, which is an MMORPG, basically for fans of the movie Cars. Probably, of course, again, geared at very little kids. I don't have any screens of it, but trust me, not the best thing in the world, I think, to get little kids hooked on an MMORPG, although it was cute. Obviously, you go around the world, there's lots of races. It was a nice thing to look at, but I don't like the concept of trying to push MMORPGs on 6-year-olds. It's just something about possibly getting a 6-year-old hooked onto something that I've seen people consume people's lives. I don't think Cars will be able to do that, but it could get them started on that genre. The other thing we saw at Disney was Tron Evolution. Basically a prequel to the movie that's coming out later this year, Tron Legacy. And I gotta say, basically imagine Prince of Persia meets Tron. You play a character in the game in the Tron universe now, and you're trying to find out where all these viruses are coming from and what is causing the world of Tron to collapse. And it's pretty cool. You run on walls and you're jumping, and you have these discs that are kind of like chakrams that you throw in people's faces. And of course, you have cycle riding still, which is a huge element of the game. I would say probably from talking to the guys that I talked to from the game, I think his name is David Patch, one of the art directors. He said about 30% of the game is spent on the motorcycle, actually, the light cycle, I should say. So that was pretty cool. I was actually really impressed with the gameplay. It handled very nicely in terms of actually being kind of like a Prince of Persia game. And because you're heading in the Tron world, you can jump higher and you can run farther. So things that might not look like you actually climb and get to, you can. And that was a cool element. So Epic Mickey, probably great for kids. Tron Evolution, something we should probably all take a look at once that comes out. After that, after going to Disney, we take a look at Konami. And the big thing from Konami was, well, they didn't have Metal Gear Solid Rising or anything like that on display, which was unfortunate. But They did have Castlevania Lords of Shadow, and we talked to a guy. His name is Johnny Cage. You'll see that, of course, later next week after we edit everything together. Yes, his name is actually Johnny Cage. He's not from Mortal Kombat, although dude looks like he could take a few people out. But we saw Lords of Shadow. We played the first level. It's a tutorial level where werewolves are attacking a village. You're going to see here in the screenshot, you can see the red eyes in the background near the top of the screen. That's a werewolf with some, nefarious intentions. And, honestly, the gameplay was solid. You have a whip that starts off as a cross, and then you shoot out the top end, and it acts like a whip. You have daggers, crosses, holy water, all that stuff is back. Classic Castlevania elements, of course. They did not say if Dracula was or was not in the game, but you know what? It looked really good, and the gameplay was solid. Of course, the gameplay is that this is a Belmont. He's not going after Dracula. He's trying to resurrect his dead wife. So it should be interesting to see how the story plays out more as we get closer to that launch date. Also at Konami, we saw a couple of things for Connect. Unfortunately, I'm going to tell you right now, they were not up to par. The sensors were very lagging, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we played a game called Adrenaline Junkies, which is basically a snowboarding game, and it wasn't responding to my commands as much as it should have been. And Dance Masters, which is basically a DDR game without the pad. And unfortunately, that was also very lagging and lacking in gameplay quality. So, and what I'm afraid now is that I was looking back at Kinect, is that I'm seeing basically a lot of the same games ready for this launch. You're seeing dancing games, snowboarding and skateboarding games, and simple sports games, and that's about it. I really want to see somebody do a full action adventure game with a playable demo. I haven't seen that yet, and I'm really getting nervous that basically Kinect is just going to be a very simple peripheral that's not going to have the range that something like the Wii has with the Wiimote. After that, we moved on to Atari. We took a look at Test Drive Unlimited 2, which is great if you are a pompous, rich, or wanting to be a pompous, rich jackass. Basically, you go around, you rack up tons of money by racing, and you try and buy the most expensive cars in the world, including this. It's called the Cinque. Why? Because they only made 5 of them in the world. When I see this with the Italian flags painted on it, on the rearview mirrors, all I can think of is the Eddie Izzard skit where always going, is everybody sitting there on their mopeds going, ciao. I mean, really, it's if you want to play a game that puts you in a world where you are an extravagantly rich person and you just drive around all day, this is probably the game for you. It is a big world. It's a pretty world, and I love what they did. They're trying to build a real solid online community there, but I don't think it's for the hardcore racing fans, personally. After that, we headed over to the SEGA, and we got some sneak previews at Conduit 2 and Sonic Colors. We're actually going to get on the floor and talk to some people about them today. But the previews we saw, Sonic Colors is probably the closest thing to Sonic Battle Adventure 2 that we've seen in a while. So considering how many games have come out since then, that was probably the last decent Sonic game. I have hope for Sonic Colors. Although I'm still waiting for Sonic 4, the side-scroller, the classic side-scroller action, to come out as Sega continues to delay it. They had no comment on that. We also saw the Conduit 2. They fixed a lot of the problems that I had with Conduit 1. So that was really awesome to see. They had a huge boss battle they showed us. The controls were a lot better, were a lot smoother. And the graphics were sharper. So I was really happy about that. Conduit 2 looked... I have hope. I hope for it. Especially and for the shooter genre on the Wii, since there are so few titles in it. Moving on, the last thing I did of the day, I went to a Halo Reach party. I got to play Firefight. And basically, here we go. Here we go. They were giving these out. You see here, Halo Reach, and of course here the control schemes for Firefight. Got my hands on with Firefight. They've added some new things where you can customize the wave strength, the amount of guys in the wave, different angles they attack from, the randomness, they're trigger happy or whatnot. All these different things when you go into Firefight and really customized it for local games. I was really impressed with that. Also, we went around. You see here there's some nice cutouts of all the guys, and I got a picture of one of them. I think it was the chief warrant officer. And it was really a cool time. Halo Reach, of course, comes out September 14th later this year. It looked really good. I was really impressed with it. And it was a great party. Again, thanks to Xbox for taking me. So it's about 6:55 a.m. So that means I'm about at the 10-minute mark again. I'm going to head out now to Wednesday, day 2 of E3, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. So until then, have a good one.